work. So the building an affinity based on counts is highly non-predictive and typically creates those stale and static experiences that people typically face in today in e-commerce. So where do we come in? We basically predict sequences of interactions as a time series to predict the affinity to the next item, right? To the next category, to the next action that you need to take in on the platform. And then once you come up with relevant recommenders, so bags of items within a set of dimensions that ensure diversity, etc. So it's high recall. Then you orchestrate it and to ensure that actually you optimize for engagement. So you bring the most relevant content at the top or horizontally. So for second-hand e-commerce, you can really think of, well, let's help you find a hidden gem just for you that obviously you would not be aware of because the catalog, there's 300,000 new items that enter the catalog every week and you can't search for it.
Parce que la communauté est clé, parce que l'entraide nous possède, on a décidé de mettre en lumière tous ces visionnaires. Bienvenue dans le podcast Build a City for Good de Daphne.
Welcome everyone listeners of Build a City for Good, all the members of Daphne Polis. Here's Christian, investor at Daphne. I'm joined by Paul Bazin, partner at Daphne.
Hi everyone.
And Kevin Kahn, CEO and co-founder of Albatross.
Hi everyone.
I'll speak more about Albatross, but we'll have the next 30 to 40 minutes to hear about Kevin, his co-founders, the vision behind it. But briefly, I wanted to say what got us excited about Albatross and what made us convinced to decide to partner with them for the next 10 years. So basically, it was a Friday afternoon that I received a message. Friday evening that everyone's getting ready to go home. And I received a message from a friend of mine, Mark, investor at Red Alpine, co-investors with us in Albatross, where he say, Christian, I know you're going home now, but I have one thing that will make you work the whole weekend. We saw this amazing company, two ex-Amazon guys building something really exciting in AI for the future of commerce. And I say, hey, we're just the people. So basically, we squeezed in a call within 30 minutes to meet Kevin and the guys. And within a week, we were already convinced that we wanted to be part of the journey. And Albatross, I'll let you do it, but basically, on my words, it's the future of recommendation for customers. So they're changing the way that e-commerce, travel, and several other industries interact with the user and show the information that really they need, not what the information that the retailers think they need. So making the whole purchase experience smoother and nicer and more personalized.
Did we understand well what you're doing?
Yes,
absolutely. I don't know why you guys invited me.
But thank you so much, Kevin, for being here today. And before talking about Albatross and what you're building, what we want to know is who you are. So who is Kevin? Who was the little Kevin? What's your story?
So I'm still little, but
the young one.
Yeah. So I'm Swiss and French. I guess the first description would be now I'm a husband and father of two, and this is really the what really defines me today. I'm a physicist. I did a PhD in semiconductor physics, and I like to build stuff. So really, very quickly after my studies, I helped build a scale startup out of New York in semiconductors. It became a very big success story, was acquired by a Japanese conglomerate. Then I did an MBA and then joined Amazon, where I led recommendation platforms at Amazon Music and met some incredible people, one of which is now my co-founder, and we decided to build Albatross.
Nice. And if we go back in time again, what brought you to do a PhD Were you passionate about science from your early days? Where did you grow up? Yeah.
No, I grew up in Geneva, Switzerland. Definitely always interested in science, politics, and music. I guess those are my three passions, and I've tried to keep all of them throughout my life. But yes, always. So I actually started studying electrical engineering because it was competitive, and I'm competitive by nature. But I found throughout my studies that I was more interested in the basic sciences, and specifically in condensed matter physics, which is what I pursued afterwards in research.
And so you said you were French and Swiss?
Correct.
Are you more French or Swiss?
I'm French culturally and Swiss by heart. So yeah, my home is Switzerland.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then, so what was the turning point that made you decide to start your first company? Was it were you an entrepreneur from early days, or did you see a problem that you just really thought that you needed to fix?
So it was a very cool problem that was also linked to my research. So I didn't found the company. It was actually founded by one of the top physicists in my field, Leo Showalter, out of New York. And this company has been out there for decades. Actually, I think it was almost 20 years before I joined. But as a research center, they were making almost no money, just building very cool tech and not really knowing how to commercialize it. And because I had a really deep understanding of the technology, but also there was a massive opportunity to build fun products, but also that were really needed in the marketplace, such as water treatment, infection control, for air control as well, which during COVID became a big hit. So yeah, this is what attracted me: the space, but also the opportunity to scale something that was completely suboptimal.
Awesome. And then from there, joining then a big corporate, a big tech like Amazon. How was the experience at Amazon? You mentioned that you did the recommendation field. So basically, what was the job there, and what were some key learnings from the time?
Why did you join Amazon at first?
Listen, it started with I spent almost 10 years in semiconductors between my research. I also did a stint doing additional research as a postdoc in Singapore, and then scaling this company in the same field that I was in, which is the 3.5 semiconductors. So I wanted to do something else. So I actually did an MBA in Chicago, and a bit randomly, a friend of mine introduced me to Amazon. Not that I knew, of course, the company, but the role, and I decided to take it. So how was it? It was a bit of a shock because I came in with expectations of velocity and ability to have an impact at scale, and really kind of put my skill set, but at a much higher scale. And I found myself actually in a world of politics, surrounded with very smart people, but that are constrained with what they're able to achieve. And so it took me a couple of months first to establish credibility, but one of my first projects was actually to kill products. So we had thousands of active models in productions to orchestrate the homepage, for instance, on Amazon Music. And one of the projects was to say, you know what? There's a lot of legacy tech. There's a lot of models that are not communicating, and this is really an artifact of the organizational structure of the company, where you have product managers for every single sub experience, and they all have different requirements. But it's not what the end customer would like to see, right? They'd like to have an end-to-end experience that actually flows, where their interactions on one experience are leveraged to optimize the other experience, right? And so this kind of tons of independent models in work, and obviously it didn't go well at the beginning because this was the output of multiple teams that had been working on this, and but the moment we saw a massive lift in engagement and conversions, then obviously everyone takes credit for it, and then that it gets accepted. So this is in a nutshell my experience at Amazon.
So you came to build stuff at Amazon and you ended up destroying stuff.
Yes, but listen, actually, I think this is one of the biggest preconceived ideas, which is you always need to build new stuff on top of old stuff. Sometimes a product has a life cycle, and sunsetting it is as important as launching a new product, right? I mean, it just takes operational overhead, it's costly, it's inefficient, and it also limits the ability to deploy the new products. So sometimes you need to make hard decisions saying, hey, we're done with this, it's done its job, but we're in a new paradigm is as important as actually building new products. And we did build a lot of new stuff afterwards, but that set the stage to actually deploy the products that we worked on.
Well, I think it's very interesting what you say. We'll talk about A/B testing with Albatross, but can you do A/B testing on sunsetting existing features? Say, okay, we just plug it off, see if it's working, and we plug it back on if there is no improvement. Or it's
you're talking about Albatross now?
No, about what you did at Amazon.
At Amazon, yeah. I mean, this is another conversation actually about which also is the what gave birth to Albatross. But traditionally in tech, you do use A/B testing to split traffic and evaluate the impact of new products on a statistically relevant portion of the traffic to see what would happen, right? The problem with A/B tests is you basically evaluate one variant at a time out of hundreds of thousands of possible variants, especially as you have more complex products with a lot of new dimensions and traffic that can be segmented in numbers of ways. So the problem of A/B tests is actually it's very slow and often it's inefficient. And what you end up seeing, the artifact of A/B testing is you end up having companies that are very happy to launch stuff that generate, because the A/B test showed a positive impact of 0.1%, and you basically have a newsletter around this. But when the baseline is in the single digits in conversions and you improve by less than 1%, this is a failure for me, right? But this is really an artifact of A/B tests because you're limited by evaluating one variant at a time, and it takes a long time to also set up A/B tests, right? You need to prepare the traffic, really prepare the test itself, let it run for a certain amount of time so you get statistically relevant data, and then you have this analysis afterwards. So what we ended up doing, not that A/B test is completely dead, but it's not the ideal way to evaluate things at scale. I should also mention that it doesn't capture seasonalities, right? Because the fact that you did a test over 2 weeks at a certain point in time doesn't really take into account that the user behaviors will change. The catalog itself may completely change over time. And again, you have seasonalities and trends and dynamic pricing, availability. So there's no certainty that test is really representative of what you'll get at the end of the year. But what you typically see is people that just project and say, this is the lift I got over 2 weeks. I just multiply it until I get project it until the end of the year. And this is the lift that I will theoretically get, which is not correct. So what we do is we have a technology called multi-amp bandits, which are a type of algorithms that basically keep on exploring and exploiting their understanding. It's a model that keeps on poking itself and evaluates. The word arms comes from the fact you can really see it as an octopus. It evaluates all the different arms or variants continuously, right? And relearns from every single interaction. So you can even think of it as A/B tests, billions of A/B tests done non-stop all the time. And this is something that works extremely well when it comes to making decisions such as orchestrating content.
Awesome. And then when thinking about use cases for this technology, what are some use cases that the listeners can get to try to understand? And you can do your favorite use case on secondhand shopping, maybe. But
so I guess I'll quickly add something about Albatross. So Albatross really is a, you can think of it as a recommendation engine that evolves with users' interest and with a catalog, meaning also with pricing, availability, and trends, and so that it continuously ensures that you get contextually relevant content. You match contextually at the right time the right user with the right content in your catalog. The way it works is traditional recommendations have typically been around three aspects. One is popularity. So just look at population level and just give the most popular stuff. Yes, for cults, it still is a relevant dimension, but it typically is one of the least impactful. So it's nice to have, but it's really one of the last ones to have. One is on user similarities, so collaborative filtering, which obviously breaks down in the use case that you mentioned on secondhand e-commerce, because Christian, the fact that you and I both liked an item and that you also bought another one is irrelevant to me, because that item no longer exists in the catalog. You purchased it, right? So in a world where every item is unique, the catalog the cardinality of the catalog changes all the time. This completely breaks down, and you can also imagine that A/B test is also breaks down in those scenarios. The third dimension is on counts. So the fact that, say, Paul, you visited this item in this category 5 times, you will have 5 counts, and then the previous models will assume that you absolutely love this because this item has 5 counts when all the other items have 0. But obviously, it's an artifact from the fact that you haven't seen the other, that you're not aware of what's in the catalog. So the building an affinity based on counts is highly non-predictive and typically creates those stale and static experiences that people typically face in today in e-commerce. So where do we come in? We basically predict sequences of interactions as a time series to predict the affinity to the next item, right? To the next category, to the next action that you need to take in on the platform. And then once you come up with relevant recommenders, so bags of items within a set of dimensions that ensure diversity, etc. So it's high recall. Then you orchestrate it and to ensure that actually you optimize for engagement. So you bring the most relevant content at the top or horizontally. So for second-hand e-commerce, you can really think of, well, let's help you find a hidden gem just for you that obviously you would not be aware of, because the catalog, there's 300,000 new items that enter the catalog every week and you can't search for it.
And so we jump directly into what Albatross does. But what makes you decide with your co-founders, Matteo and Johan, and maybe you can also tell us how you met the three of you. But what makes you jump into the unknown and say, okay, what we've built is amazing and could be very useful for a lot of people outside of Amazon? And what make you take the leap?
So it's a great question. It was long in planning, but together with Matteo. So Matteo is our chief scientist, and he was the head of applied science at Amazon. After seeing a lot of the technologies that I'm talking about, so a set of content retrieval models, such as sequential models, transformer models, etc., and the use of these kind of multi-layered stack with then contextual bandits to orchestrate. When we started to see the massive impact that we got, like really a lift of multiple hundreds of % in engagement on a relatively good baseline already, which was based on those collaborative filtering technologies and very good segmentation. By very good, I mean there was a lot of people working on it and trying to optimize it for years. We actually decided to. So we had the data. We knew how amazing it was, and we also knew how difficult it was to build it. Right, it took us 2 years, a very large team, a lot of trials and errors, and so the know-how that was required to build these systems at scale rapidly. By rapidly, I mean with low latencies and cost efficiently, right? Because actually, we published a lot of those models, but if you build the infrastructure to train and deploy these models at scale, typically it will cost an enormous amount of money. With a lot of optimization on how the models are trained and on the feature stores and the infrastructure, we're able to do it extremely cost efficiently. So this is really the competitive advantage. So we decided to take the leap and build a company out of it. And then I told Matteo, listen, we absolutely need a third founder. And I know just the guy, and that's Johan. So Johan is our CTO. And again, coming from big tech, and I did, that relates to your previous question about startups versus big tech. And I came to Amazon with a startup mindset, and this is really the way I work. But, in AI, there's always this tendency to work with unlimited resources and a lot of money. And so I told him, listen, we need someone who knows how to ship fast with crappy data. And this is Johan. So Johan is one of the best engineers I've met. We studied together, actually, back in Switzerland. And he's one of my best friends. And so it was sort of a blind marriage. And it turned out to be extremely, extremely productive. We work very well together and super happy to be on this journey together.
And you needed to rebuild the model or to build again the model from start.
Yes, multiple models.
Exactly. It's because you had something that worked at Amazon, and so you need to start again from scratch. You had the know-how, but how do you start again, and how do you say, okay, we should start by doing that, and how do you write down the roadmap?
So since we built it, we knew exactly how to build it. However, there's a massive opportunity again because we don't have legacy systems. So, I tell you stories of things that work well, but there's also, months where you try to deprecate platforms that are no longer efficient, but, it takes time to get funding to evaluate the next platform, the next technology, and then transition every single use case or company within Amazon from the previous to the next version. So there's definitely a lag time, which we didn't have. So those constraints no longer existed. So we were able really to reinvent the way we would have always wanted to build that platform from scratch, which is what we did. So there was a big opportunity to do, again, things a lot more cost efficiently. And to be honest, it's been 2.5 months since we started the company. We already... Our products are ready for deployment. So if you look at how long it took us 2 years at Amazon with 150 engineers and scientists, we're able to build something a lot more efficiently in 2.5 months. It's not over. There's a lot of, you build something so that it works, and then you spend months to ensure that there will be, it will stick together no matter how much you push it, right? So definitely there's a lot of we need to invest a lot of time and efforts on DevOps, on MLOps, to ensure. But again, we're on the right track for it.
Nice. And taking the hook of what does it look in the future? So if we would move 5 years ahead, what's the big vision for the future of Albatross?
Yeah, in 5 years, I hope there's no company that doesn't use Albatross to orchestrate their content. So you can really think of us as the tool to maximize the revenue that companies can get from their existing catalog and their existing customer base. And this is really, it's crazy to think how much money is left on the table. They had the right products, they just didn't know how to present it to the customer in a way that resonates with them, or even help them find it, right? Product discovery is a massive problem in e-commerce. Online marketplaces in general, think of online travel, streaming media. So what our vision is to provide the same kind of experiences as YouTube for any kind of shopping experiences, where you come in with very little intent. You just want to discover, you just want to find something, get inspired. And then very quickly you get one interaction after the other in real time, which is actually one of our biggest differentiators, because we can do all of this in real time. you get stuck. Stuck is the wrong word. You get attracted into an experience of discovery where you go one after the other and the other and the other into a set of complementaries. For instance, videos in the case of YouTube, but you can think of music on a station for Spotify, or a set of items that are highly relevant for you to purchase in the case of fashion, electronics, you name it. But again, also understanding that this is all contextual, right? I mean, the next day when you come back on YouTube, you're not stuck in that experience that you just spent the previous day. It's not a reset. It just understands that it needs to go back a couple levels and again recapture the context that you're in at the moment. Are you alone? Are you not alone? What is it that you're trying to achieve? And this is exactly the experience that we want to bring to any online marketplace.
And what do you need to have this context and to understand what the customer wants or needs, even if the customer doesn't know what he wants or needs?
Yeah, it's a great question. This is really the beauty of embedding-based models, where you can really start doing a lot of predictive affinities. So what do we need? We need really 3 types of events. The most important one by far is the in-session interactions, right? So we just really need all user interactions with the catalog, so that we can build those sequences of interactions as time series. So you clicked, you saw, you purchased, you searched, and all of those information become input into our models, and then we start seeing patterns into what it is. Think of hotels. If you don't need to basically say what is your price sensitivity, how many kids you have, just the fact that we start seeing the kind of hotels that you're looking at and the one that you end up actually converting or purchasing, we start understanding, well, actually, you do want kids club, a hotel with a great kids club for your small kids, and you're also into outdoor sports. And the beauty of it is then you can start also building recommenders that are really personalized, right? So when, I don't know, the two of you or I would actually go on this search engine, for instance, if you think of any hotel search engine, we would actually end up on 3 completely different interfaces, where mine would, for instance, be amazing hotels with kids club and outdoor sports for your upcoming holidays in Berlin, right? So again, there's a strong understanding of the catalog, and this is something where GenAI can also help companies. You don't need us. It's not personalization, but one advantage of GenAI is the ability to generate content, so to decorate all of their catalog with a lot of additional information, which we can then use to, again, identify patterns. And the last one is obviously the long-term history, if available by customers. Yeah.
Super clear. And then you touched on GenAI, and we know it's only a part of the whole offering that Albatross multi-arm banded plus, and then you can have on the content engine some generation search and so on. So, but how do you see GenAI changing the way that people buy things, that people sell things, that people consume content?
So I'll first start with these tiny corrections, because we don't use LLMs or natural language. We don't need to, because these LLMs are generally really poor at recommendations, or at personalization, should I say. Part of a couple of people in my team at Amazon, we did publish a lot on this. We actually showed that as recommendation engine, you cannot circumvent this kind of deep learning and reinforcement learning models that really incorporate the user understanding in session, real data, and the catalog understanding, which, again, LLMs are really, what you'll end up having is just the most popular stuff, because that's what it's trained on. So not that it's useless, but it's really not meant for doing personalized recommendations. But GenAI will, or generally natural language as in AI, because again, you may have noticed we never use the word AI because it's buzzy, but we do really advanced deep learning stuff. Not it's not a wrapper on an LLM, but Gen AI has the potential to completely alter the experience of a user, right? Because if you think about it today, no matter what it is that you're doing online, you always have the same kind of levers, which are filters, which are basically predefined, so you're also constrained with that. A search bar, which again, if you have no clue what it is that you're trying to, if you're there for discovery, this is completely useless. And a set of categories, which you hope that things you don't really know where to start. And again, then you may have thousands, tens of thousands of items per categories, so it's very difficult to find. However, again, Gen AI can offer, I would say, really, in my view, two strong values. One is in the ability to reduce friction by incorporating natural language into the search. You still need then a recommendation engine to actually incorporate that context because and recommend the right stuff. But it does offer the ability to explicitly give more context than what is currently available, such as, hey, I'm looking for a gift for my dad. He loves outdoor stuff. This is not, there's no filters for that. And content generation. So again, decorate your content, being able to build a set of titles, a set of images, a set of descriptions, which you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. And then you still need a good ranking engine to select for each user the right one. But it does open a lot of optionalities because clearly the more content you have, the more useful the ranking engines or recommendation engines are.
And so one of your beliefs is that people will go more and more on e-commerce website with no intent of purchasing or just discovery mode without really knowing what they're looking for. Do you think that the way we consume are shifting and is it partly due to the short content from YouTube? You mentioned it, TikTok, and so on, where we are more and more passive and we are waiting for something to happen? And is it what you want to bring to the e-commerce era?
This is a tricky question. It's a great question. We could have a podcast just on this, actually. But
we are on a podcast. So I'll shift the next call.
So my view is that, let's start there maybe. I think that the explosion of content in every field, think of the number of hotels and available flats, before with Airbnb, for instance, right? There was a world before and after. The number of people using internet and therefore second-hand e-commerce has completely increased because now a lot more people are just putting their content or items on sale. Has made the problem of discovery almost impossible by intent only, right? Because what it used to be, it was the current interfaces are not designed to find items out of millions. Think of how often do you search for a film on Netflix or for a given track on Spotify? There's 150 million tracks and 50 million podcasts on Spotify. I know for a fact that Amazon Music, when we were doing this, sometimes you do search for something and you want high precision, right? So you don't want a what the fuck moment because if you search for something, you need to find it. But the vast majority of conversions is, hey, I want to listen to music. I want to watch a movie, right? I'm in the mood. I actually have a kid's party soon and I need a gift. So there is an intent, but you don't know. But the intent is very wide ranging, and so we do need to help the customers with on their journey of discovery. There, the short attention span that you mentioned about Shorts and TikTok. I think this is I'm very passionate about this, and I think this is also a societal problem because we're also missing a lot of context. But it's a fact that the attention span of people is very short, and this is one of the reasons, going back to Albatross, why orchestrating the content is so important. Because if you have the right thing for the customer, a couple of scrolls down, chances are they will never see it because they won't scroll. They looked at it, they didn't find, they'll go on the next platform. And so yes, this is actually one of the accentuators of accentuating factors of why recommendations are so relevant today, in my view.
Nice. And as the attention span of people is shorter and shorter, I think we're gonna end up this podcast with some just very short questions.
Yes.
That I'll let Christian ask.
All right, so we're ready for quick fire questions?
Oh my God! I just for the listeners, I have not prepared for this. So yes, let's go for it.
All right, so starting with a tricky one. So, what's something in AI that everyone's excited about and you're not excited at all? And what's something that you're really excited that people are not paying that much attention?
I would say chatbots, and what I'm really excited about is the efficiencies that or the accelerations that are opened up by specifically Gen AIs, right? So the ability to get cleaner data very fast, the ability to accelerate whichever task it is that you're doing. I mean, our website was built together with Claude. Claude, we always joke that our first employee was Claude, which is the AI assistant from Anthropic. And yes, this is how we work, and it's incredible.
Awesome. What was your first job?
My first job, I actually used to play the violin on the streets to get a bit of money when I was young. Yeah.
Nice. And outside of that being your first job, which is a fun fact, what's another fun fact about Kevin?
I used to fence. I don't know if it's funny, but I do like to stab people.
Okay, and then on the musician side and the music, what's your favorite artist?
Can you be our recommendation engine?
So this is actually, it's pretty funny because nobody likes my taste. I mean, if you ask my wife, she'll just say that I have the lamest. Nobody wants to hear my music at a party, which is actually why personalization is so important to me, because most likely my place will not work for you and yours not for me. But I'm very much into opera and classical music. Yes.
Okay. And then what was the best concert you've ever been to?
Julius Cesare in Egitto, which is an opera from Haydn, and I saw it in Salzburg. It was incredible. Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have a guilty song?
A
guilty song?
What's a guilty song?
A song that you listen to when no one's watching.
This is great. I do love original soundtracks, right? And the more epic the soundtrack, the better. So if you ever came in, while I shower, then most likely, there'll be anything from Hans Zimmer, right? So let's say
it's not guilty at all. No, we want something lame.
This Dalida, I guess.
I love Dalida.
Okay, so how come, this is from Aurélie, but how come your French is so good?
It's, I guess, it's never been good for anyone, right? Because so my parents are French, but growing up in Geneva, you also get tainted with some of the local accents. So people used to make fun of that. And honestly, for the past 15 years, I haven't spoken a word of French except with my parents. So just, weather and short conversations until my kids were born. And so I only speak French to my kids. And so it started to come back, but my vocabulary is not there anymore.
Even when you do a podcast with your French investors, you do it in English.
Yeah.
All right. Can you teach us something that we don't know?
Yes. What would you like to learn? Yeah, I can teach you how to say I speak Japanese in Japanese.
Okay, that's
Nihongo hanashimasu.
Okay, thank you.
And how do you say I don't?
Hanashimasen.
Okay.
Right.
What's your best book you've ever read?
I would probably say my all-time favorite is Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman, from Feynman, the autobiography. So Feynman is probably my all-time hero as a physicist and educator and someone who really knows how to articulate extremely complex ideas simply And so, yes, this is something that I do aspire to.
And you would recommend it to people that are not physicists?
Yeah, it's actually a really funny book to read. Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun.
Nice. And then I would assume that he would be the person you would choose to have a coffee with.
Yeah, but so if you ever saw one of his lectures, I mean, he does like to talk, so we probably would have to spend to prepare, to block a certain amount of time for that coffee. But yes, I'd love that. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin, for taking the time today. One conclusion words for your future customers that are listening today.
A conclusion. I think what's really interesting about the space we're in is that we don't have to sell the problem. Every one of our potential customers or existing customers, they complain about very low conversion, high churn, low engagement, low product discovery, and it gets worse over time. And more importantly, they've tried multiple things over the past decade because, again, there's been waves of personalization tools and data science strategy, tools to kind of address these problems, and they really didn't work. So what I would like potential customers listening today to this podcast is especially to rekindle that interest and to think, well, it is true that it didn't work. It is true that it's a real problem, and maybe these guys know how to solve that problem. And actually there's, it translates, I mean, increasing the user engagement, reducing churn has massive impact on both the top line, but also the bottom line, because what you end up doing is you don't need additional marketing with increased traffic to continue making a lot more money. So I think this is, and you do increase user loyalty as well as a result of providing an incredible user experience.
And then how can the future clients find you?
info@usealbatross.ai, or you can call our partners at Daphne, and they'll put you in touch with us.
With pleasure. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Paul.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Chris.
Bye.
Bye.